ho! Merry Christmas everybody and welcome back.
Christmas food is probably the best food of the whole year and you're gonna love this recipe.
This menu is the star of the show. It's everything you need to cook for Christmas dinner.
To begin, we're going to start making our roast potatoes. They're going to be crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside, served whole with garlic and herbs. Perfect for a roast dinner or for Christmas, in which case you absolutely need to start with some champagne. Now, to make the perfect roast potatoes, you need three things. Potatoes, of course, a little bit of olive oil, not too much, and a lot of BOSH style hustle. So first we're going to go in with 1.5 kilos of Maris Piper potatoes into a deep wide pan. We're going to cover them entirely with cold water. Boiling water will cook them unevenly. Then of course we have to season our potatoes, cover with a lid and let them get to a rolling boil. Have a glass of champagne while you wait. Once they've reached a rolling boil, set a timer and we're going to leave them to boil for 8 minutes. Once that timer goes off, your potatoes will be done and it's time to drain them through a colander. Of course, we're going for the perfect roast potatoes, so we want them as crispy as possible. To help get them super crispy, we're going to shake them in that colander while they're still hot. Really give them a good shake until the outside has started to turn fluffy. Those fluffy bits are going to soak up all of the oil, giving really crispy outside to the potatoes. Now let's get them into a baking tray and we want to cover them with about 4 tablespoons of olive oil, turning them with tongs to make sure that oil is covering the whole of the potato and everything's going to give us that nice crispy roasted flavour. It's time to add a layer more salt to make sure they're really well seasoned, and these are ready to go into the oven now at 220 degrees for 30 minutes. Maybe grab another drink of chef's champagne or you could get on with the rest of your roast dinner. Now 30 minutes has passed and I'm feeling even more Christmassy. I'm going to grab these potatoes out of the oven. You can see they're already looking lovely and brown on the outside, but I'm going to go over with a little bit more oil just to make sure that they don't catch and make sure they're all covered in this fresh oil. We want to get the perfect crispy exterior without any bits sticking to the bottom. Now we're going to add a few flavorings. So we're going to go in with a few sprigs of rosemary, just picking off the leaves from the rosemary stalk and throwing them in there. Next we've got some thyme, a few sprigs, and of course some sage. Just chuck those leaves in there too. Next we're going to take a whole bulb of garlic and just squash your hand on it really hard to break it open and get as many of those cloves as you can. They're going to roast really beautifully. Roasted garlic is wonderful, although don't go kissing anyone afterwards. Whack those potatoes back in the oven for 40 minutes.
Next, we'll be making perfect clementine roasted vegetables with heritage carrots. The carrots don't take long, so we'll leave them for later. So now it's time to concentrate on the beetroot, which are coming in right now. The earthy, natural flavour of the beetroot complements the sweetness of the carrots perfectly. Place the beetroot into a high-sided roasting tin. Now we need 2 tablespoons of cold water. We need the water to steam the beetroot, and we need 2 teaspoons of really good quality olive oil to aid the cooking process. Now we need to season our beetroot. We're going to season it with really good quality sea salt. This is definitely going to bring all that fantastic earthy flavour out of these wonderful organic beetroots. Wrap the top of your tin with foil, making sure there's absolutely no gaps. It's important that no steam escapes from the tin. Pop the beetroots in a preheated oven that's been set to 190 degrees and roast them for an hour.
Now the beetroot is in the oven, it's time to begin our giant sausage roll. This will be the core of our Christmas dinner. Healthy but delicious, Moorish, and just what you need. We're not talking about one of those tiny little supermarket jobs. We're talking about a massive sausage roll which will impress everyone at the table. To begin, place 3 chopped parsnips into a large pan of boiling salted water. Cook until tender. Place a large pan on a medium heat and add 1 tablespoon of olive oil and then 1 chopped red onion. Add a generous pinch of salt and then stir everything around for about 3 to 4 minutes. Those onions should start to go translucent and soften. Then add 250 grams of chopped chestnut mushrooms. We're using both the head and the stalk of the mushroom. Then continue to stir those mushrooms and everything together for about another 7 minutes until they really have softened significantly. Then grab them out, whack them in a bowl and keep them to one side till later. Take a plate and then you want to drain and put onto that plate your cooked parsnips. These should be really tender and ready to form a base for your sausage roll. Grab a blender and add the mushroom and onion mix we made earlier. Follow immediately with the cooked till tender parsnips. Those mushrooms are going to add a fantastic flavour to this sausage roll and marry perfectly with the firm bite of the parsnip. On with the lid and then let's whiz everything together. Now we'll add 1 can of butter beans, 100 grams of cooked chopped chestnuts and 1 can of cannellini beans and whiz everything together to a really smooth paste. At this point, check the consistency. You should have something which is really thick and sticks to your spoon. Now let's hit those flavours. thyme, black pepper, fennel seeds, 1 ground clove, ground ginger, nutritional yeast, allspice, chickpea flour, grated garlic, maple syrup, soy sauce, vegetable stock, and toasted hazelnuts. And then blend everything together once more until it's really well combined. Once you're done, take that out with a spoon, put into a large bowl, and add 200 grams of brown breadcrumbs. This will give it that really fluffy, Moorish texture. Mix everything together really, really well. Take that extra bit of time to just make sure everything's really well combined. Then it's time to get rolling. At this point, I'm going to tap out and let Ian take over.
That filling looks delicious. I'll take the reins from here. Lay 1 sheet of puff pastry down on a lined baking tray. Now it's time to build your sausage roll. Start spooning the delicious filling down the right-hand side of your pastry sheet. The filling should be no more than 2.5 inches in height. Use your hands to mould the filling, making sure that it's nice and smooth. Now it's time to decorate your sausage roll. Use a Christmassy cookie cutter to cut holes down the left-hand side of your pastry. Brush water all around the edges of your pastry sheet. This is going to act like a glue and stop your pastry from popping open in the oven. Now carefully use the edge of the baking paper to fold the pastry tightly across the filling of the sausage roll. Seal the pastry sheet with your fingers, making sure there's absolutely no gaps. Decorate your sausage roll with the pastry shapes that you cut out earlier. Use a fork to neatly score the edges of your sausage roll. This will make sure it looks pretty and definitely doesn't pop open when it's in the oven. Brush your sausage roll with olive oil. This will give it a really nice tanned colour. Pop the sausage roll in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. Now that that's roasting, we need to dress our carrots. Look at the colour of these heritage carrots. They are just going to jump off the dinner plate. The first stage of our dressing is 2 teaspoons of good quality olive oil. This will really aid the cooking process. Squeeze the juice of 2 clementines over your carrots, making sure you don't squeeze in any pips. Clementine juice is going to take the flavour of these carrots to the next level. The zest will really help with this too, so make sure you grate a decent amount over the top. 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar will offset the sweetness of the clementines with a bit of acidity. 1 tablespoon of pomegranate molasses will ensure your carrots are restaurant quality. Absolutely perfect for a Christmas feast. Carrots are an earthy vegetable, so it makes perfect sense to have a nice earthy herb spread over the top. A little bunch of thyme. Drop a fresh bay leaf onto the top of the carrots and pop the tin into the oven for around about 20 to 25 minutes. Take the beetroot out of the oven, let them cool down to roughly room temperature, and then peel them with the aid of a thick piece of kitchen roll. Put your beetroot on a chopping board and use a very sharp knife and a fork to chop them into wedges. It's better to use a fork because beetroot will definitely stain your fingers. Transfer your wedges of beetroot into a bowl that hopefully won't stain. Remove the carrots from the oven and toss over your toasted walnuts. Turn the walnuts and the carrots around in the lovely caramelized flavouring at the bottom of your roasting tin. Get a plate out and neatly place down your heritage carrots. These incredible carrots certainly deserve some really pretty plating. Get rid of the bay leaf and transfer the beetroot wedges to the roasting tin. There's loads of fantastic flavour at the bottom of that tin and we really don't want to waste it. Squeeze on the juice of half a clementine, get a little bit more sea salt and stir everything around again, making sure that all the flavours are coming together. These beetroots are going to be amazing, especially served with those beautiful heritage carrots. They look great and they also smell phenomenal, earthy, rich.
Ian, you're right, they smell amazing. Now it's time for us to crack on with our spiced cranberry Cavalo Nero. This is going to go perfect alongside your Christmas dinner, or indeed any roast. You may already be pretty merry because this should be done right at the end of cooking. It only takes a little bit of time to prepare. This dish is a great way to get some healthy greens into your roast dinner. We're going to start by pinching our thumb and forefinger along the stalk of the Cavalo Nero and pulling it down to separate the leaves. There's something oddly satisfying about this process. We'll discard those stalks and take the leaves and add them to a large pan of boiling water. We want a lot of water in this large pan so the Cavalo Nero has space to float around. We don't want them bashing into each other too much as they could bruise. Leave them inside the boiling water blanching for about 3 to 4 minutes. We want them tender but still retaining some bite. Now our Cavalo Nero is nicely softened, we're going to take these leaves out using tongs and place them down on kitchen paper. Pat them dry. Don't worry too much, but we want to get most of the moisture out of there for the next cooking stage. This is a perfect moment to talk about the benefits of Cavalo Nero. This dark green leaf is filled with manganese, calcium, iron, and loads of vitamins that your body is going to appreciate. Given we all go a little bit crazy during Christmas, it's a great idea to just get these nutrients into your Christmas dinner. Once the leaves are mostly dry, remove them to a small bowl and put to one side while we get on with making the flavourings. Place a large frying pan on a medium heat and add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Just give it a little moment to warm up and make sure the whole pan is covered. Then we'll add 1 clove of garlic, which we've finely sliced. Stir it around for a minute or so until the entire room is filled with the wonderful smell of garlic. This is the perfect time to add a large pinch of chilli. Add a little more if you like it hot. We certainly do. Stir it for a couple of seconds to let those flavours release, then add the magic ingredient, 2 tablespoons of cranberry sauce. Make sure everything is really well stirred together until your kitchen smells like a Christmas market. This is the point to add your Cavalo Nero back to the pan, let it warm through, stir it around and help it soak up all of that Christmassy flavour. Don't leave the Cavalo Nero in the pan for too long. We don't want to overcook it, we just want to warm it through. When it's ready, take it over to a small bowl and serve, and spoon any of that delicious Christmassy flavour over the top.
Yeah, you're right, man. It is definitely time to get that Cavalo Nero on the table, and what's more, it's time to get everything else on the table too. Use a sharp serrated bread knife to cut your sausage roll into hearty slices. Look at how good that filling looks. This meal has taken a lot of time and effort to cook. It's only right you do this meal the justice it deserves and plate it up as beautifully as you possibly can. Your guests are definitely going to be blown away by the flavours, but you might as well impress them with the plating too. We thoroughly enjoyed making these videos for you guys, and we're going to make loads more in 2018. So from Henry, Ian and everybody here at BOSH, Happy Christmas.
So there you have it. That Christmas dinner was the star of the show.
If you enjoyed it, like, comment and subscribe, and we shall see you again soon.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.